Hi, this is David Comfort from Democracy Action Network. Here's a mind-blowing fact. Did you know that over 70 million Americans rely on Medicaid for health coverage? That's more than those covered by Medicare. Yet, right now, there's a bill moving through Congress that threatens to cut nearly $930 billion from Medicaid. Honestly, this is crazy. Republican Senator Josh Hawley, who claims to be a champion of the working class, recently wrote an op-ed arguing against cutting Medicaid. But guess what? When the vote came around, he was one of the senators who said aye to those very cuts. Ever notice how some politicians can say one thing and do another, all while pretending to care about the people they're supposed to represent? This isn't just about one senator. It's a systemic issue within the Republican Party. The so-called Big Beautiful Bill is riddled with lies. Take those tax cuts, for instance. Most of the benefits go to households earning over $217,000, and a third of it goes to those making $460,000 or more. They've spun a narrative that these cuts were meant to expire, but now they're saying, "You should have known we were lying." What if I told you that this kind of manipulation is an affront to democracy? It's absurd and unfair that while the wealthy get richer, the most vulnerable among us are left to fend for themselves. But here's the inspiring takeaway. We have the power to change this narrative. We can push back against the lies and fight for a fairer system. The cuts to Medicaid and food assistance are not just numbers, they represent real people. 12 million fewer people receiving Medicaid means families struggling to make ends meet, individuals unable to access health care, and children going hungry. And all of this is happening while the GOP continues to misrepresent their actions. So, how do we tackle these big problems? First, we need to stay informed and hold our representatives accountable. We can mobilize our communities, raise our voices, and demand a government that prioritizes people over profits. We can advocate for policies that support the working class and ensure that essential services like Medicaid and food assistance are not just preserved, but expanded. Let's remember that history is on our side. Social safety nets were established to protect the most vulnerable, and it's our responsibility to ensure they remain robust. Together, we can solve these puzzles. It may seem daunting, but every movement starts with a small group of passionate people willing to stand up for what's right. In the end, let's hold on to hope. Change is possible when we unite for a common cause. We can create a future where everyone has access to healthcare, where no one goes hungry, and where our government truly represents the needs of its people. So let's get to work, because the fight for a fairer society is one worth fighting for. This is David Comfort from Democracy Action Network. Peace. You can sign up for Dan by scanning this QR code.